From Quincy Jones' protege to Grammy-nominated R&B singer, Windsor native Tamia has been inspiring audiences with her insightful lyrics and dynamic performances. More than just an artist, Tamia Hill is also a wife, mother, and activist. Tamia, on this episode of Leading Women.
Smart, beautiful, fun, generous, honest. I think those are good 5 words to describe Tamia.
Stunning. I mean, her voice is stunning. I mean, she paralyzed me.
Incredible artist, an incredible person, incredible mother. I mean, I've had the chance to experience all 3 about her, and she's totally incredible all the way around.
When I was 6 years old, I had my first solo, and it was in church. And from that Sunday on, every Sunday, they would ask me to sing. That was sort of really when I realized at that age how powerful music is. I went to the Performing Arts High School. It was their first year opening up, when I think it was my first year in high school. I don't think I ever thought that I would have a career as a singer. I mean, it wasn't like now where you see American Idol and all. I mean, there was Star Search, right? So that was the big quest to get on Star Search. And then they had like a Canadian Star Search, so I did that. And that's, I think, when I really realized I could, have a career of it. And so they took everyone from the different provinces, and they had a finale in Vancouver, and it was a big moment for me. And I won. I won, yeah.
I had just finished The Bodyguard, and I was doing a concert for the Prime Minister of Canada. The producers of the television show sent me a bunch of tapes. At the end of the tape was a videotape of this young, probably 18-year-old, gorgeous, beautiful girl. And she sang something. It was like that Maxell ad, where you just go, oh my God, where did this girl come from?
David Foster asking me to perform on live TV, I'll Always Love You. I mean, the David Foster who did the whole Bodyguard soundtrack and tons of other songs, asking me to perform with him on live TV in Canada was pretty. That was a high moment. After I did that show on live TV, that tape made its way to Warner Brothers Records. I left Windsor and I moved to LA. After a while, Quincy Jones was looking for someone to sing a song that he had on his album that was coming out called You Put a Move on My Heart. And so I went in and I met Quincy and I went into the vocal booth and I sang the song. I mean, mind you, it wasn't all that smooth. I was nervous and heart palpitations, and I'm looking out of the booth and Quincy's looking at me, and he liked the song and he picked it for his first single, and we went out together and toured the world for his album Q's Juke Joint.
When you hear Tamia sing on that record, it's the same thing. It's the chill of first listening to, Tenderness by Otis Redding, or A Song for You, or Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
First time I heard You Put a Move on My Heart, I just said, wow. I knew she had talent, but she really is amazing.
She was this voice that everybody heard and was amazed by, but people didn't really know her. The challenges that she might have faced was being an outsider. She was from Canada.
I come from, humble beginnings, and everything was just, and then you go to LA and you see Mercedes and palm trees, and it was all sort of like weird, but then there was also a sense like, yeah, this is what happens in LA, and so being around someone like Quincy and seeing how he carried himself, that was a very good thing for me to see early on. Well, recording my first album was with Quincy's label. I then had moved on to Quincy's label. The first album, there's a pureness, there's an innocent sound to my voice. It was very sort of raw.
I had heard some of the record that they were working on, and I was really impressed by her tone. And it was a duet that I wrote. And you make a wish list of all the people that you would like to do this duet with, and to me it was actually on the top of the list.
Being nominated for Grammys is a huge honor. I was nominated for Spend My Life, which was a duet that I did with Eric Benet.
I watched her progress with Quincy, and I loved the song she did with him. I Put a Move on My Heart. I thought that was amazing. And then she had some success with the Stranger song, and I was thinking, yeah, they were going now.
She was with Elektra Entertainment, which then became Atlantic Records, and now she formed her own independent label, Plus One Music Group.
One of the ways that I put out my latest album, Between Friends, was I developed my own independent record label and put it out via Image on my own.
I think that's the huge difference between independent presence for Tamia versus a major presence, is that you get a chance to control your own destiny, your own art, your own music.
I wanted to do music that sort of I wanted to do. And being a mom and a wife and sort of being able to control my own calendar. And starting a label was a way in which for me to do that. I worked with two great producers. One is Shep Crawford, who did Stranger in My House on my last album, and he's done tons of other songs, and Rodney Jerkins.
I've always had success with divas. I worked with Whitney, Toni Braxton, Deborah Cox, Mariah Carey. I worked with all the divas, so to me it's definitely one of my top picks.
I co-wrote a lot of the songs. Shep Crawford wrote a lot of the songs. We produced them together, and it was just fun.
We actually went in the studio saying, let's not think about the market. Let's not think about a record label right now. Let's just make great music.
How she's changed is that she's really sort of taken the art, taken the music, and sort of put her own mature spin on it. So I think from, You Put a Move on My Heart, 17-year-old, to, early 30s, Tamia right now, there's just a brim of confidence.
In my world, with working with, Barbra Streisand and Celine and Whitney and Mariah and Natalie Cole, I thankfully and fortunately surround myself with the greatest singers on the planet. I put Tamia in that category.
Music is amazing that it speaks to the heart. Even when you don't want to listen to it, you have a song come on and you're hearing it. Even when you don't want to feel it, you don't know a song, someone can be up there and start to sing and you're like bawling, or you're brought to a certain place. It speaks sort of soul to soul.
She understands, I think now, that there is power to that platform. There's power to her voice. When people listen to songs like Me, and they literally come up to her after the show and say, hey, that song made me leave an abusive relationship. I think she's beginning to understand just the magnitude of that, and I think that comes with maturity.
Everywhere she performs it, she gets a standing ovation. We've got hits on MySpace that people have changed their life with that song.
This song is about sort of finding you and getting to know who you are, and as a woman, as a mother, as a wife.
Surprisingly, you ask me for honey's name, and her name is me, and she loves me more than you'll ever know.
I sing about a lot of drama, which I like in songs, not in life.
I wish she did more positive songs, because I think everybody kind of looks at me when they're like, these Stranger in My House and Me, and like, what's going on in that house? I know dramas make the best movies in a lot of cases and tell a lot of good stories, but I think, positive stories are good too now.
There's lots of songs that remind me of him, and they're not Stranger in My House and Me and Questions and all of those things.
She's the type of person that the money doesn't matter, the accolades doesn't matter, but the art does.
I think of Tamia as an artist who leans more towards her talent and her artistry.
Diana Ross and Aretha Franklin, she's kind of, all of them kind of rolled up.
I do love to perform. That's the best aspect of making records, is getting out there and performing, and sometimes giving people a voice who don't have one. But I hope, overall that they have fun and they sort of they get a chance to get to know me a little bit better. We'll start with my mom. She was 17 when she had me. We lived with my grandmother for a while, obviously because my mom was young, and then we moved into an apartment, and later the row house, what they call in Canada.
She liked to sing a lot, and she liked to dance, and she liked to do everything that every little child liked to do.
You know, I joke with my mom all the time because, and I guess after a while it would get annoying, but I sing all the time.
She would just sing, 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 and I would say, "Oh, Tamia, please, don't you have no consideration for other people? But if I knew what I knew now, it's all right."
My mom was quite a firecracker in her younger days. She likes to love on people and hugs, and she'll pray for you in a minute, and I love that about her.
Tamia has really taught me a lot. From the experience that she has really taught me a lot. She's a blessing to have as a child.
How did I meet my husband? That's an interesting story, actually. I was at the Soul Train Awards, and during the rehearsals, we're all sort of in the audience, and Anita Baker comes up to me, and I'm a huge Anita Baker fan. She told me she had the perfect guy for me. Now you have to understand, like, Anita was huge everywhere, but like in Detroit, she was, and in Windsor, like, she was huge. So I was sort of like, huh?
It wasn't like I asked her to introduce us, but it was just, we were having this conversation, Anita and I and her husband, and just I was having bad luck in trying to find find somebody to date. So she said, I'll find somebody for you.
When Grant and I finally met, we were both sort of apprehensive of each other, because I had an idea of what an athlete was, and he had an idea of what an entertainer was.
When she met Grant, we live in Canada. Grant was playing for Detroit Pistons at the time.
Grant and I dated for about 2 years before we decided to get engaged, and we were engaged for a year. So altogether 3 years to sort of get to know each other, and decided after 3 years it was time to get married.
The wedding was in Battle Creek, Michigan, at a bed and breakfast.
Battle Creek, Michigan, which, if you don't know, is the home of Kellogg's. And so actually one of our parting gifts to our guests were boxes of cereal with a little picture of Grant when he was like 3. And I was like 6, and Tony's holding us, and he's like, "They're great." I thought it was quite funny.
And my wife is definitely my best friend, and she knows me like a book, and I think vice versa. The relationship, the friendship, the family that we have, and we both have had ups and downs, but to do it together and to grow together, is just very fulfilling.
They help each other grow. I see a lot of growing in both of them since they had gotten together.
It'd be nice to, look back at this, 40, 50 years from now and, comment and laugh at how young we look.
I have 2 children now, Lael Rose, who is 9 months, and Mila Grace, who is 6. I just try to maintain the balance, and I let them know that they come first. But it's a juggling act.
There are sacrifices with our careers, but she still is very much involved, very much in tune to our children.
She has her kids with her on the road, and you can tell she loves her kids, and she lets her kids be free and be themselves, and her kids don't at all seem to be caught up in having celebrity parents.
Her only sort of direction to us when we're trying to book tours and appearances is, can we just book 3 a week? Give me enough time to get back so I could do the girls' hair. Basic stuff. Literally, I think she's a mom and she's a parent first before she's an artist.
Try to find the balance, and I love to sing and I love to perform, but I'm a mom first.
My wife is a great mother, and I've learned a lot about parenting just from, observing and watching her.
I hope my children grow up to be well-rounded. I hope they're charity-driven, like we are, and that they never take anything for granted. Grant and I are involved in a number of charities, Habitat for Humanity, Make-A-Wish, Hope Kids. It's been a blessing to us, actually. There's nothing like helping other people to make you feel good about yourself and the things that you're doing in your life, or to help you find direction in what you should be doing in your life. So we've been able to meet a lot of wonderful people and have been honored to help out in whatever capacity we've helped out.
They make their own decision as to what they support. And the things that they support are very close to them, but they do a lot of charity work.
She understands her responsibility as an artist and as someone who has access to a platform that can influence people and that can reach people.
Right after the project before last, in 2003, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS, I guess short form. And actually, it's a weird thing to sort of talk about. I'm still sort of gripping with it myself and speaking about it, because sometimes I feel like it's something that people really focus on, and I don't know.
Tamia is remarkably resilient and strong, and I think she has great faith, and I think she's been raised well by her parents. And it was, I think, a devastating diagnosis.
It was sort of heartbreaking at the time, because I just had a baby and Grant was going through the things that he was going through, and it was sort of felt like one thing on top of another.
Grant was going through a lot of things in his career. He had been hurt several times. He had some setbacks in terms of, he had a staph infection one time. He almost died. So all his stuff was going on. And she just handled it like a trooper.
It is something that, people have their own ideas of what that means. And a lot of times, they think of someone who's very sickly, or someone who's, who can't walk. And there are certain aspects of that, but that's not everyone. And that's not me.
In sort of the day-to-day dealings with MS, she really tries to get the word out as much as she can. And I think it's more on a personal level. It's not, let me wave a banner. It's more like if a fan approaches, somebody shoots a message to the email, she actually takes time to say, here's what the experiences are, here's what I went through, here's what you have to look forward to, here are the things I think you need to know.
The MS, I think, allowed her to step to the forefront and identify with people who, maybe had a need, whether it was, a sickness or whatever it was. She just stepped up to the front.
I'm very hopeful about her continued success in dealing with MS.
I've been inspired by people who, just by the things that they've gone through, especially in a lot of the work that we've done with our organizations, and they never know. You never know who's watching, and I think your true character is tested through adversity. So I think that's when people really find out who you are, how you come up on the other side of it. I think you do have to allow yourself time to sort of really reflect and sort of get into who you are and really get into things that maybe, you need to be dealing with within yourself.
She's always very gracious to people. She's like really a perfect entertainer. There's never any scandal. She's what you want to be and what you want to aspire to be as an entertainer.
It's like this perfect mixture of purity and strength in her voice. And when I think about Tamia, that's the first thing I hear.
What makes me proud is to see her as a great mother, a great wife, and a great friend to me.
She's been very, very successful. People don't realize that she's sold as many records as she has sold independently. It's been a huge accomplishment and a huge inspiration.
She has a gift, and her voice, her music, I think, inspires. It's something that people enjoy listening to, and she was born to do what she's doing.
She belongs with the great singers. She really does. I'm not gracious about my words. I don't give out compliments just for the sake of a camera. I mean, she really belongs with the great singers because she really is a great singer, and she's unique.
It was in her to say something. And she says it beyond just music, in my opinion. And I think that is probably what her future holds.
I love that I have a family that loves me, that I know that loves me. I love stability. And I don't know if maybe that was growing up and sort of not having that stable, not having a relationship at all with my dad. I do believe that a father is important in children's lives and especially in girls. And I don't think I realized that until I saw my own girls with their dad, and I didn't even realize what I was missing until I see that. So I love the fact that they have that, and I love that the people in my life love me unconditionally. That's what I love about my life. Unconditional love.